So Nick, I don't know if this could work, but I was wondering if you could lead us all through a tapping.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Happy to. And for people listening, I'll describe the points. So don't worry if you can watch on video, that's always great. But yeah, let's go through it. So let's start by just if it's safe to do so. If you're not in the car, don't do this if you're in the car. You need both hands on the steering wheel, so save it for later. But if it's safe to do so, just close your eyes and take a gentle breath in and let it go. And just start by tuning into how you feel. We talked a little bit about the body, and Jeff mentioned, the tightness in his jaw and stomach, and see if there's any of that for you. Do you have tension in your neck or shoulders? Do you have any pain? Just notice how your body feels. And we're just going to use that as a checkpoint so we can look back later and see if something has changed there. And with tapping, we're always looking to, work on something, right? So like, what's the thing? I mentioned pain, and we just tuned into some pain. So if you have pain in your body, great opportunity to see if we can move it. And then if you're feeling anxious or you're angry about something or you're overwhelmed, if you've got some fear about something going on, just tune in and pick one thing that you say to yourself, you know what, it'd be nice to move on from this. It'd be nice to let this go. And then give it a number of intensity in a scale of 0 to 10. So if you're feeling super anxious right now, that's a 10. And if you're calm and relaxed, it's a 0. So we have our issue that we're working on. We have our number. And now we'll do some tapping. You can gently open your eyes. We start by tapping on the side of the hand. And you take 4 fingers of one hand and tap on the outside of the other hand. It's below that pinky, right in that fleshy part of your hand. And just tapping gently. And then repeat after me, either in your mind or out loud. If you're by yourself, say it out loud. If you're somewhere in public and embarrassed, great, just say it to yourself. Not a problem. And I'm going to use very general language here because I don't know what it is that you're working on. If you're anxious or angry or overwhelmed, but it's going to work just great. So tapping on the side of the hand, say, even though I'm stressed, I choose to relax and feel safe now. And we're going to continue tapping on the side of the hand. Even though I have this stress in my body about this issue, it's safe to let it go. And one more time, still on the side of the hand. Even though I'm holding on to this issue, I imagine letting it go now. Now we'll tap through the points. The first point is the inside of the eyebrow, where the hair ends and it meets the nose. You're going to take 2 fingers of one hand, the other hand, or both hands. The meridians run down both sides of the body. And you're just tapping gently, whatever speed feels good to you, making enough pressure that you're sort of knocking on those bones. And as you tap, just tune into this thing that you're working on. So if you're anxious, just notice that anxiety. If you're angry, think to yourself, what am I angry about? Now moving to the side of the eye. It's not at the temple, it's right next to the eye on the bone. Again, one side or both sides. Tapping gently, and we're taking this time, we're actually looking to tune into these negative emotions, the truth of what we're feeling, in order to send that calming signal and let it go. Under the eye. So just think about that now. Notice the pain in your body, the fear, the stress, the overwhelm, whatever's going on, just be present to it now. Under the nose, tapping gently, breathing gently. Under the mouth, above the chin, below the lip, and that little crease there. Tune back into that issue. What's going on? What's it about? Can you let it go? for the collarbone point, just feel for the two little bones of the collarbone and just go right below it, all 10 fingers of both hands. If you're just figuring it out, getting it distracted, that's okay. Bring your mind back to that thing. What's going on? What are you stressed about? What are you anxious about? What do you want to let go? Now, underneath the arm, 3 inches underneath the armpit, tap him gently. Breathing gently. And the last point at the top of the head, tapping gently, breathing gently. And now you can stop tapping. Take a breath in. And let it go. So now that was just one quick round. And then we tune back in. We go, okay, that 7 was a 6 or a 5. Like, what moved? What happened there? What came up? I was working on anxiety, and then I remembered something else, or then I got angry about something. I was working on back pain, and I had a memory of something that happened 5 years ago. And the process is this beautiful unfolding. Like, okay, then we go again. Or we go, great, we're at a good place here, and we can get on with our days.
Super cool. Thank you for taking us through that.
You're welcome.
I just noticed I hold a lot of attention to my jaw. And so I actually just noticed that my jaw relaxed a bunch during that process, which is where I was focusing most of my my attention.
No, that's great. And it's like, it's hard to be like, hey, relax your jaw. I mean, certainly if you just stop and you can be like, okay, let me try to loosen this, that, and the other. But there's something else that happens where it just like unlocks.
Well, so much of our tension in our body is not necessarily from exertion, it's from emotion, right? I learned that in theater school, which was where I got in tune with my body a lot, was through, the yoga practices and the different things that they would do in our movement class to help us unlock our voice and our vocal range. And there's so much like from your jaw to your face, to your shoulders, to your chest, like all the different parts of our body. And there would be moments within our class where we would be, say, releasing something and people would have emotional releases at that very moment. And like you said, they'd be, we'd be doing a massage or we'd be doing an exercise of some sort with vibrations and people would suddenly tear up or they would have emotional responses to those moments. The body really does hold on to things from whatever it was or is in your life and to allow that to release in those moments. This is, I guess, just a very direct way to address those things and create that freedom.
Yeah, it's a direct way. It's also just really empowering, right? Because you do it by yourself. I mean, there's amazing practitioners and psychologists and psychiatrists who bring it into their practice. And there's a time and a place for that, especially when you're doing trauma work, deeper, more complicated things. But there's also a reason why, psychologists and psychiatrists recommend the app to all their patients, because they can be like, hey, I'm talking to you once a week and we're going through this stuff. But then the rest of the time you have this tool that you can use.
So I've heard tapping can be great for anxiety and pain relief and, trauma. Like, are there other things that maybe I wouldn't think of that could be good, that I should check this out?
A lot of the physical stuff is pretty crazy. Like we have an IBS, irritable bowel syndrome series, so much stomach stuff, like emotion, stress plays such a big role. And even, I think people really struggle with the physical stuff when there's a diagnosis, right? Like, hey, I have Crohn's and I have all this inflammation and this, that, and the other. And that's why I take the white pill and that makes it better, or do this or that, and the other. And not saying there's also a time and a place for that. And that's great. And can you help your healing? Can you support the experience by reducing the stress? Like, there's not a doctor that will argue with stress plays a role in healing of everything. Doesn't matter what, it's great for, we have cancer patients who are going through chemotherapy and very nauseous, and like the tapping helps with the nausea in beautiful ways. So there's all the physical stuff, and then the emotional landscape. I mean, I personally use it oftentimes for like, we have a motivate me to work and motivate me to have a productive day. The difference between 5 minutes of tapping before work and like then getting at the computer to then just diving in is night and day. Just the clarity that happens. And, we didn't talk too much about it. I mentioned how we send a calming signal to the amygdala in the brain when we do this. But if we think about work, right? Like, you got a launch going on and it's your first one or it's your 100th one, but there's still stressors that come with it. And like, you're dealing with things. When we are stressed, the blood flows away from our brain into our arms and legs, right? It's that fight, flight, or freeze response. We're being chased by a lion or a tiger or a bear. Like, and we feel it. And, imagine, Jeff, during your last launch and you've got some stressful things going on. So there you are, you're running, right? You're being chased. And I come up next to you and I say, Jeff, what's the solution for this? Like, what are we going to do? What are the next steps? And you go, well, first off, I got to deal with the bear behind me. I got to deal, like, my body is in this state of not thinking clearly. And we all know this. Like, we all know we don't think clearly. We don't make good decisions when we're stressed. When in the history of man has someone said, well, I was in the middle of the most stressful time of my life and this, that, and the other, and I wasn't thinking clearly, and, I was overwhelmed. And then I came up with this idea. Like, no. I was taking a shower. I was going for a walk. I was taking a bath. I was relaxing, right? We're in these relaxed states. I had the idea for the documentary film about the tapping solution when I was doing a fast. I was in Arizona. It was like day 5 of a fast. Like, you're never feeling better than day 2 or 3, no good. But day 5, I'm just like flying. And it's like my body is in this relaxed state. And then I have that energy and the juice and the creativity. So, we tend to, as a culture, be like hustle culture, gotta go, gotta push, gotta this, gotta that. And it doesn't mean don't work hard, but you are not going to make good decisions or come up with good ideas if you're stressed. Period. End of story. Your biochemistry doesn't support that happening, right? So this isn't like a woo-woo thing out there. Like, if you're stressed, if you're sleep deprived, like, you're not coming up with good ideas. You're not making good decisions. So how do we get ourselves to that place where we can make good decisions and have good ideas?
Yeah, I think of it, when you speak about like IBS or people dealing fibromyalgia, people dealing with like really challenging physical things. But my experience and so much of what I'm after is like, I'm looking for a performance edge, really, at the end of the day, to show up in every area of my life as a better human. And yeah, when you're sleeping better, you're going to show up in all areas of your life better. You're gonna, and especially work. I mean, we're talking to a lot of entrepreneurs. If you can reduce your stress and you can show up with more focus and more presence and better rested in every area of your business, then you are going to win.
100%. And it's as simple as, you've got a business challenge in front of you, and you say, whatever it is, even though my social media following isn't growing, right? If like that's the thing that you are focused on and you're like stressed, even though my social media following isn't growing, I choose to relax now. It's not growing. I don't know what's happening. My reels were going so viral before, and now they're not, right? Like, all this stuff that we're talking and thinking about anyway. Do that 3 times through, and I guarantee you're going to go, oh, you know what? I was doing this thing before, and maybe that's the difference. Like, you're going to get this clarity, even just as a brainstorming session. Like, your mind is going to unlock things that are going to just shock you. Like, oh, there it is. There's the answer. Whenever I work, we have a financial program, like a financial success and personal fulfillment program. And people are like, what do you mean? You like tap on, then you get more money? Like, how does that work? And it's because we are unlocking the creativity, unlocking the decision making, unlocking. And for some people, entrepreneurs, starting companies, it's all that stressors. For other people, it's like they're not looking at the bills. They're stuffing them in a drawer because they're just so overwhelmed by it. And when we can reduce that stress, it's like, okay, now I have the energy to handle this.
Hey, Launch family, one more thing before you go. There's a few spots left in Jeff's Launch Intensive workshop. This is a live in-person training with Jeff, Dan, and Justin in the room. Only 40 people are going to be there. Small, intimate, and super, super powerful. If you'd like to check that out, all you have to do is go to getyouLaunched.com today. Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.